looking to make some noise. That was the one thing that they were missing in this series was a closer, and Kevin Durant provides that.
That was Perk earlier on Get Up. So, Swagoo, let's get right to it. Do you also like the idea of Houston going after KD?
I do like the idea, Stephen A. Obviously, look, they want to be young. Houston wants to be young. But, dude, last night they couldn't shoot the basketball. And one thing we know about Kevin Durant, he can absolutely shoot it and put points on the board on the perimeter. This team last night, a young team. I saw the Thompson twin. I think he's ascending. Obviously, Stephen A., you made that statement about Green earlier. I think that's a big reason why they could explore getting rid of Jalen Green is because Thompson looked like he's going to be what they want Jalen Green to be throughout the rest of his career. But when you look at KD is, to me, is always going to be a guy, regardless of age, that can get a shot. And I put him in that same kind of vein as Dirk. Right? He's going to be able to shoot it and expand the game because of his physical build, because of his ability to shoot the basketball and create offense for other people, because you got to make decisions when KD is on the floor. Last night, when you watch the Houston Rockets play against Golden State and Buddy Hield is going off, there is nobody that could remotely come close to trying to close that gap offensively that Buddy Hield, the show that he was putting on. Ime Udoka is a defensive guy. He is a scheme guy. He wants to play physical and run people off the three-point line. It did not happen last night because nobody on the other end forced Golden State to play any type of defense beyond the perimeter. They packed the paint and forced them to try to be an offensive shooting team, and they could not do it. KD would remedy all that.
Wendy?
Okay, let's agree that Houston needs offense. We all know this, okay? No one's disputing it. Now, let's move on. For a couple of reasons, I'm not sure Kevin Durant fits. But first off, any Kevin Durant trade is going to have what I'm calling the KE triangle, okay? One, it's got to be a place Kevin Durant wants to go. He is already on the record on Draymond Green's podcast saying he wants to control the end of his career, and he should. I get it. Two, it's got to be a team that can send stuff to Phoenix that they want. Now, on this case, the Rockets might fit both 1 and 2 because he's got connections in Houston. The Rockets have a bunch of the Suns' stuff. And the third one, though, that's where it could get interesting, whether it's Houston or somewhere else. That's what happens with KD's contract. He has 1 year left on his deal for $55 million. I'm not going to assume what KD wants, but typically in a situation here, a player would want an extension. You've got to be very, very careful extending a player at high number at that age. Not cocky about Durant, just in a vacuum. And also, they got to deal with Fred VanVleet this summer. Alperen Şengün's contract is coming on the books. They got to be careful. In the modern NBA, you can't have a giant contract that isn't playing that way. You get yourself in big trouble. You get yourself into the sort of situation that the Phoenix Suns are in right now, when you have big contracts that are not good value.
Well,
so go ahead.
Two things. Number one, you got a team option on VanVleet's situation. You're in a position to clear about $48 million in cap space. If you're Houston,
you don't want to clear. You got to keep him.
You got to keep him. You got to keep him. I understand that, but I'm just talking about their options. And in the case of Kevin Durant, we keep forgetting that year and a half or so that he was out because of the Achilles tear. So the wear and tear on his body isn't what people think, and that's why I think you see the brother still averaging 27 a game. But that's it. Go ahead and finish your point, Wendy, and then you go ahead, Perk.
Yeah. The other thing is what the Rockets have said. First off, I got to point out, next Monday, the Rockets have a 17% chance using the Suns' pick of getting into the top 4 and a 3.8, call it 4% chance of winning the Cooper Flag sweepstakes. No conversations with the Rockets are happening before they see where they end up after that. If they get the top pick, they are taking Cooper Flag and moving on with their life, okay? But even if they stay put at 9, that pick, they've got this young guy, Reed Shepherd, who didn't get to play this year, but is a very intriguing young prospect. There's a lot they can do. But their general manager, Rafael Stone, is on the record as saying he does not want to trade for a player that doesn't fit the same age range as their core. He doesn't want a 30. Doesn't matter if it's Kevin Durant or whomever. He doesn't want an old guy 10, 12 years older than their core players. That is outside what he has said he was going to do.
Go ahead, Perk.
I don't give a damn what Stone said. Right? When you have an opportunity to go for it and make yourself a legit title contender, you do it. And if that's going out and getting Kevin Durant and you're able to keep the Thompson twin and Alfred Şengün and Fred VanVleet and Steven Adams, then damn it, you get it done. Along with Tari Eason. We know one thing about teams when it comes down to Kevin Durant. You got to surround Kevin Durant with some dogs. Houston got a bunch of dogs. They're very disrespectful in a good way. That's why this series just went 7 games, because they hang their hats on physicality, being pit bulls defensively. And now you can add a closer in Kevin Durant. Here's another thing, Wendy. I don't give a damn what Kevin Durant said on Draymond Green podcast. He don't have the luxury to dictate and say how he wants his career to end. Right? The Phoenix Suns don't owe that to him. The Phoenix Suns need to do what's best for their organization. Kevin Durant haven't delivered a championship to the Phoenix Suns, so he can't dictate that. He doesn't have a no-trade clause. The Phoenix Suns, if I'm looking at it, I'm doing what's best for us. Now, I will have a conversation with KD, but I don't think KD is mad if he ends up with the Houston Rockets under Ime Udoka. That would be huge, and they would be legit title contenders.
Well, the bottom line is let's throw this out there as a point of fact. If Houston had their druthers, they would prefer Devin Booker to Kevin Durant, but Phoenix ain't giving, Ishbia ain't giving that up. So, and you can't trade Bradley Beal's contract with his no trade clauses. He doesn't want to go anywhere. So you have to move Kevin Durant, and I totally agree with you, Big Perk. Kevin Durant is in no position to dictate where his future is going to end at this particular moment in time. Not when you're going home in the first round or not even making the damn playoffs. It's just that simple. That's the way that it goes. So we'll see what happens. The Houston Rockets have 5 tradable firsts in the next 7 years, and obviously 2 unprotected firsts in 2077 and 2029 as well. So they've got some assets to move. We'll see what's happening. Swagoo, go ahead. I'll give you the last word on this as we switch subjects.
Stephen A., when Wendy was talking, brought up a great point. This is about if Houston is playing the long game or they want to win right now, right? You get KD, you know he's not there for a long time, but you fix something on your team that needs an answer. If the potential of getting Cooper Flag is going to infuse with that young group, and they feel like this is going to be a long-term situation like it was with Tatum and Jaylen Brown, and it took a while for the Celtics to get over the hump, put the right team together to come to fruition and win championships, and now be the team that we think of them as. What is Houston's plan long-term, or do they have the short-term view like you and Perk and I think they should, as far if they feel like they're close to winning the championship? But I didn't want that to fall on deaf ears, what Wendy said, because it could be an organizational philosophy on this fan base understanding that we're positioning to become a championship team as opposed to going for it right now, and then we go away after KD leaves. Now, I don't know how much, I'm not going to pretend to know how much one NBA championship does for an organization, how long that carries the fan base. It's a little bit different in the NFL. You win one, you got about 5-10 years before you have to do it again, because people are going to remember and relish that. But in the NBA, it seems like a fast cyclical thing where you want to get back to back to back. And positioning themselves long-term may be the answer for that, which in turn makes KD not the answer.
Let me tell you why KD
Wendy,
does have agency in this. Because he's got 1 year left on his contract. If he doesn't, that's why it's a triangle. If he doesn't have an understanding contractually with the team he's going to, his value is less. If you're trading KD for a possible rental, your payment to the Suns isn't going to be as high. So it is in the Suns' best interest.
Đây móc vào. Mũi tiếp theo. Cái lần lượt từng mũi là được. Tiếp tục móc nha mọi người. Bây giờ móc tiếp. Mũi tiếp theo này. mũi tiếp nữa. Đấy, móc lần lượt như thế này. Còn một mũi cuối nhá là sẽ xong cái hàng này. Tiếp nha mọi người. Đấy, móc vào. Được một cái chuỗi như này. Bây giờ sẽ móc 4 mũi bính. Móc vào 4 mũi bính. Bây giờ móc vào đây và sẽ tiếp tục những cái mũi nửa kép nhé. Đây mình sẽ móc ngược lại để tăng cái độ rộng lên gấp đôi nha. Như thế này nó đang